welcome everyone to the next week of Misfit Table.
Session 8!
It sounded like you said Section 8.
The
game we're running right now.
Oh, no.
This is not a political podcast.
Just we're a homeless podcast or something. All right. Here we are. Session number 8. Well, that's like 2 months.
Yeah, it's 2 months. We're making some progress here.
And maybe tonight you'll get out of the carnival.
What? Oh my god.
Don't tease me.
Carnival.
Wait, there's
Don't
more
tease
to the
us, Rob.
campaign than this?
I mean, it has been an 8-year-long campaign already, so...
That's true. That's pretty good when you put it that way.
I mean, a week per year.
Depends on who you think the main characters are. If it's you or if it's your parents. If your parents, it's been an even longer campaign.
I love that we're the children of adventurers.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Can we do that as season 2?
Season 2, go back and play like the parents.
Oh man!
Maybe we'll do that as a flashback. Maybe we'll do like sort of like a side quest game where you get to play some sort of adventure as the rents. I believe there's enough of them to go around.
Oh, that would be so fun.
Yeah, you would. You would have. Well, I mean, technically not, but if you include Kettlestein as part of the adventuring party, then you've got Magda, you've got Morgana, you've got. Is it Threnfir, right? Is Sylphira's father?
Fenrith, but yes.
What was it?
Fenrith.
Fenrith. I think I wrote it down wrong. I may have to change that.
It's okay. It's just my dad. It's fine.
I wrote it down wrong.
The
How
whole
do you
reason
spell
for
that?
being
I could have sworn that I'm just going to butcher your father's name, and it's like, he's my dad, and he's missing.
Well, we haven't actually referred to him by name since episode 2, I believe.
I think I tried to mention him last game, and I probably got it all messed up.
Fine. I forget who my mom is. Give it a couple more years, I'll forget who my dad is.
No, we're getting your memories back. Dang it! Mm-hmm. I don't care how many mirrors I have to threaten to get out of the carnival and into the Feywild. I will do this for you.
Hopefully, you can get there today. There's nothing you've been trying to do for now. Like, the thing you've been trying to do now for 2 sessions is get to the end of the carnival, find out who has crowned the Witchlight Monarch, and then hopefully have this meeting with Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, and earn your way to the Feywild. Discover maybe some secrets as well that they've been holding. And this is where we are right now. We're basically coming back to the carnival, to a celebration. People streaming out of the tents, music in the air, and fireworks flying off into the night sky, and clowns streaming out with Mr. Light at the lead of a procession that is now going to make its way around the carnival, with Thorn at the lead, now as the Witchlight Monarch. Before we get to that real quick, I wanted to just jump back and take a moment for Sam, because there was a very close center race there in a way for who was going to become the Witchlight Monarch between Thorn and Sam. And I hadn't made up my mind in the last game who was going to be, right until kind of like the last few moments. And I'm wondering what Sam's thoughts are, because I think up until it happened, there was sort of 2 clear frontrunners. And I think Sam, maybe for the group, was almost in the lead right until the end there. And then there was a lot of sort of like, well, we're not sure. What are Sam's feelings on this?
Oh, Sam's just a big stew of emotions right now. He's disappointed because he wanted the thing, but he's so happy for his friend Thorn, and he's relieved because they probably would have done other nasty things to him. So yeah, there's just so much going on in his head, but he's overjoyed that we as a group managed to do the thing that we were trying to do, and at least one of us got it. And that's really, like, he's eye on the prize. He understands that's the important part.
Eyes on the prize, got it. But there's still a tiny bit of like, well, it could have been me. But it's interesting that you said, maybe you dodged a a bullet as well, or you dodged a bolt, because who knows what comes with the responsibility of being the Witchlight Monarch. Is there responsibility that comes with it? We're about to find out.
And also, like, if Thorn now has that means, like, I have my golden ticket that's good forever, and that's my ticket. Always allows me entrance into the carnival. So now the monarch is also, he's forever a monarch, even though they crown a new one every night. Yes. So that means that now we have a bit of a connection in that way that I, didn't quite exist before. Even though, we grew up together, I haven't seen these guys in 8 years. And having him be part of that, just makes me feel a little bit closer to him.
It's true. It sort of brings him into the secondary family that you were a part of. That
you're Parney Brothers.
Remembering. What was it?
Your Parney Brothers.
Small hands smell like cabbage.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought of that, and I like it. That extra, just bit of a chance for Sam and Thorn to connect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, you mentioned that, they crown a Witchlight Monarch at the end of every night, but also keep in mind that the carnival only comes to your world once every 8 years. And that's 3, every 8 years, but, people... it's not very many. Typically, it's going to be somebody, maybe every once in a while it's a child that's really out there doing crazy stuff, and maybe they're a monarch for a long time. But typically, it's going to be somebody in their 20s or something like that, and maybe there's somebody in your village that took it previously. But then, once the carnival's gone, Sam, because you've been part of the carnival, that this is a big deal for the carnival and for the Fae in particular. Not so much for your world. You walk around the Witchlight Monarch outside of, in Glen Hollow, and people are like, yay, you got the bouquet or something like that, and people forget, 2 days later or whatnot.
Yeah, and I'm the Burger King, so.
Exactly.
Big deal.
So when you're in the real world, the normal world, it's not that big of a deal. But you have not been dealing with the normal world, and you're not planning on going back there right away. You're planning on going forward somewhere else. So this is where I wanted to kind of start with Sam. So let's get this moment where Sam is in the, in the seating with everybody else, and you're cheering on everyone, and maybe there's this slight moment of introspection about what this means. Tiny bit of loss, but also great excitement, which comes at the end when Thorn is marching out with everyone. Sam, you notice as the group is making their way out, and you're starting to make your way out as well. We talked about you just running out and being sort of the head cheerleader for this parade. But you glance off to the side and you see the bugbear Burley standing at the end of the seats, kind of in the direction of the back room of where the dressing room is for all of the performers, and he kind of shares locks eyes with you for a moment. And then he glances off to the side, and you see Mr. Witch heading towards this back room, guided by Durla, the Durlaground, who is the displacer beast, sort of like a protector in a way. You've talked to him about sort of forcing, a meeting, and he doesn't know that you have another plan, but you sort of get this eye from him, you may have a chance here to do something different. But this is also at the same time, that Thorn has just become the monarch.
Ooh, I'm torn.
Yeah, there's this moment now where the eyes are not on Mr. Witch. He's heading out a different direction. Everybody's eyes are on Thorn and on Mr. Light.
Cool. I eat the cupcake.
All right. You shove this thing in your mouth, and a moment later, you vanish. Sophira, Tana, you're both in the stands. Both of you give me a perception check. Let's see if you notice Sam stuff his face.
13?
I think so. Tana, you could. I'm just going to give Tana a big bonus because You've got like, if you could be cross-eyed, one eye would be on Sam, like at all times, I feel. Maybe you've got like one of your strings from your board just like attached to like your finger to him or something. What about Sulfira?
11.
11.
Yep.
Sulfira, maybe not so much. You rolled a 5. Okay.
No, that's a +5. I rolled a 6.
That's with a +5, and you still rolled 11.
Yep.
All right, so Tana notices Sam pull something out, pull the cupcake out and shove it in his face, and then just is gone.
Well, right before I vanish, and I see Tana looking at me, and she knows what I'm about to do. I just give her a wink and shove the thing in my face.
I say to the empty air, just don't get caught and mess this up for Thorn.
Oh, I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, not you, Sulfira. I'm sorry. I'm talking to...
What?
Take my inspiration point, Brandon.
What do you... Who are you talking to?
Don't worry about it. It's just Sam. He had to take a bathroom break.
Oh... Insight check.
I wonder if this might be code for something in the past.
Yeah. Oh, is that our new code word for off doing crime?
It might be the code word for off stealing cookies or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think this Sulfira needs to roll an insight check. I think after a moment, you look around, you see Sam's gone.
Yeah, it's shenanigans. Oh, word. What? No, that's just what he does. There's no code to that one.
One of the clowns turns around. Someone call my name.
Oh, no, not you, shenanigans. I enjoyed your performance, so good job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's funny.
Toots his horn and walks off. Okay, so Sam is sneaking away. Thorn is celebrating outside. And what about Sulfira and Tana? Are you going to join the parade or hang around here and see if Sam needs backup or split up or what? Kettlesteam is also with you as well. Keep that in mind. Let me see if Kettlesteam even notices. Kettlesteam has not noticed either. Kettlesteam is like, are we going? Are we going with your friend? Pointing out the tent.
I don't know, Tana. Yeah, I think you know Thorn better. Maybe you should go with him and I'll stay here and wait for Sam.
Well, Sam's going to be following the other guy, and we don't want to follow along and potentially give the game away. Maybe we should just follow Thorn and then let Sam do his thing. If he needs to escape, he's got the invisibility. I don't remember how long it lasts. You won that prize, but hopefully it lasts a while.
I think it's 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Well, in 10 minutes, if he's not back, then we know that we're in trouble.
Out of character question, DM, how long does the cupcake last? Because I think it's 10 minutes, but I didn't... Oh! Genuinely 10 minutes, question mark. Okay.
I feel that's a good answer.
I think
fair.
The correct answer we can pull from Gross Point Blank is for a while.
For a while.
Okay.
Hopefully long enough. All right. So, Sulfira and Tana, it sounds like both of you are heading out to join Thorn. Thorn, you are with this crowd of fairgoers led by all these, carnies in their wings, and like you're the center of attention. Mr. Light is leading the way ahead of you, spinning this vane and marching, at the lead of this group. And, he's sort of the center of attention just because of the way he is and how flamboyant he is, but he's taking plenty of opportunities to sort of like stop and like bow to you and like pretend to be like, sort of like the king's fool in a way, like occasionally like trip and like, almost fall over and stuff like that. And then he'll stop and kind of run back to you and be like, oh, my lord, my lord, my lord. And at one point there's like a little mud puddle and he like suddenly grabs like a Witchlight hand's cape and throws it into the puddle, and the Witchlight hand's like, oh, and just sort of corny stuff like that as you're making your way around the carnival. What is Thorn doing? Is he?
Well, I
What's
think
going on with Thorn?
he's on cloud nine. Like, this is one of the best moments of his life, just because he's kind of simple. Like, he's able, I mean, not only able, has little choice except to be totally immersed in the moment. So he's just completely living it. I think he's not enough of a performer to really like play up the role a whole lot, but he's doing it his best. There's a lot of laughing because he doesn't know what else to do. And he's not totally comfortable being the center of attention, but he is delighted by this whole experience. So he's just doing his best to enjoy the moment and hang on for as long as this ride lasts.
All right. So one thing I wanted to sort of mention, you talk about not being, skilled as a performer or whatnot, but there's something about this charm, this crown that you're wearing that's bringing something out of you that you haven't never tapped into before. And you feel this with every sort of gesture and laugh. And, if you play along with Mr. Light, you find that like you get like a reaction from everybody that you haven't gotten before as like a performer. And that's because this charm is giving you, while it's active, not just butterfly wings, the ability to fly, and this, title. You're getting a +5 bonus on all charisma-based ability checks right now because of it.
Awesome.
So like imagine your charisma was suddenly like 10 higher in a way, because that's what that bonus means. And I think in like 5e, that's huge.
Oh yeah, no, that's huge. Well, in that case, it's kind of interesting. I think in a way, maybe this is giving him a glimpse of what the best side of himself could be, or at least best is in the most confident and self-assured and self-actualized and fun and funny and outgoing. I don't know, this could actually change his character growth a little bit, like getting to experience this sort of better version of himself.
Yeah.
Even after the charm goes, I wonder if a bit of that might stick with him.
We will find out.
We'll find
out
whenever
the charm goes. But for now, it's like this. It's like cloud nine. Everything is going your way.
Yeah.
Everything you say seems to be the right thing, and people love you right now. Yeah, you're the center of attention. Which I don't know if Thorn has ever really been that in even amongst his friends. Maybe I'm not entirely certain.
Not really. He's only ever been the center of attention in the sense that when he walks into a room, everybody stares because he's so freakishly huge.
Yes, and this is something different. This is rather than like, noticing something strange. This is like everyone noticing something beautiful and wonderful that they maybe haven't noticed before. And we'll see going forward when you return to Glen Hollow at some point. This might leave a lasting impression on people.
That's kind of powerful for him.
All right, let's jump to Sam as Thorn is outside with the rest of the carnival. Sam is slipping away into the tents, trying to make his way, I'm assuming, towards the staff area, following along
wherever Mr. Witch is going.
He heads back towards the changing rooms first. The Durla, with him as sort of a guard. As you start making your way there, you glance over and you see Burley. He can't see you, but he was watching you and is fairly, he's got that look like he's kind of keeping an eye out just to see what happens next. Right. He begins making his way back towards the staff area as well, but just sort of casually.
I will keep an eye on him just in case he gives me any sort of warning that danger is coming. And I'm trying to get as close as I can to this Mr. Witch without being too close.
All right. Well, first, let's take you into the back room, into the dressing room, where the performers would normally change. Right now, all the performers are out. The only one that is in this area would be Mr. Witch and Durla. You follow them into the dressing room. There were a couple of Witchlight hands kind of just standing there, but you're invisible. I'm pretty sure. Let's get a stealth check with advantage to make sure you don't knock over the tent or something like that.
All right. Well, that will either be a dirty 20 or an 11.
You slip by them with no problem. They don't notice you. They don't hear a thing. Back in the dressing room, you find this scene of colorful clutter that's just everywhere. You see tables that are strewn with makeup kits. You see glass jewelry hanging from trees, mirrors trimmed with glowing orbs of light for those that are putting on makeup, and chests of drawers and wardrobes that are just spilling out with garments. This place is a disaster. It's been a whole night of performers running in and out of here, and you've just had, the crowning of the Witchlight Monarch in a large, event that just occurred. So it's in a state of disaster, and you see just stuff everywhere. And at the far side of the tent, just slipping out sort of the back flaps of the dressing room, you see Durla's tail just sort of disappearing. You know that leads to the staff area. You don't see another guard there, but the tent flaps do close, and since you are invisible, it will require moving them aside.
As we approached the tent, could I notice if there was, if I went back out and went around the side, I could have gotten into the same area? Or do I have to go?
The problem with going around the side is that the staff area, remember, is encircled by that thorny hedge that is basically magical. It grows on its own. The only people that can open it are Witchlight hands.
Okay.
So this is sort of like a way to bypass it.
Okay. Well, then I will move forward and see if I can peek as carefully as possibly out, through the slit without disturbing the cloth at all.
Give me a perception check.
Uh, 17.
You glance out through the slat, kind of just moving it a tiny bit to get the right angle, and you see about halfway across the staff area, walking towards a dark wood wagon. At the back is Mr. Witch and Durla. You don't see anyone else back here at the moment. Seems like everyone is out.
And I didn't see a guard outside the flaps.
No, you don't see one hanging out on the inside of the staff area.
Okay. Well, then, as gently and non-obtrusively as possible, I will try and slip out of the flaps.
All right, roll one more stealth check with advantage.
It'll be an 8 or an 18.
No problem. You slip through. They don't notice. Durla doesn't notice. Actually, they check something real quick. Durla has senses beyond those of a normal person. Let me check something.
If she's anything like cats in real life, I mean.
She does not seem to notice you.
If you're following along at home, Durla is a displacer beast.
Durla is a very large displacer beast, bedecked in jewelry. She normally runs the lost property wagon, and you met her early on and haven't really seen a whole lot of her since. But you did make sort of an ally with her. She gave you some suggestions kind of early on to try to find to seek other allies in the carnival. And she struggled to help you because she was bound by the same rules of the carnival. But Burley also mentioned that she was trustworthy. If you'd gotten on her good side, that she was somebody that could potentially help you, especially when he was talking about this situation. Although this exact situation where she's guarding Mr. Witch, don't know. Don't know if she'd go so far as to try to stop you or aid you right now. You haven't discussed this with her beforehand. And you don't think that Burley has, but you don't really know. But you've slipped out into the staff area. Durla and Mr. Witch make their way towards the wagon in the back, and they're getting close to it. Mr. Witch has just stepped up to like the first step. What do you do?
I would like to get just sort of kitty corner around the side of the wagon.
Displacer Beast corner.
The which what?
You said kitty corner.
Yes.
Help it. Ring this Displacer Beast kitty. All right, we'll roll one more stealth check just to cross this area to close the distance. Are you trying to get close to him now at this point? Or are you still monitoring from a distance and waiting for an opportunity?
I'm not trying to get like up to him. I'm still just want to stay within at least earshot.
Okay. One thing I should mention, Burley had told you that with regards to Mr. Witch, if you were planning to try to like lift his watch, that he keeps it clipped to his coat, and you see from across the way as he turns to Durla and says a few words to her that you can see like the chain kind of coming out and it goes into a pocket. So there's sort of like it's tricky to just lift it because the chain is connected. You need like a knife or scissors or something like that. I think you have a knife. Don't know. What sort of tools do you have?
Oh, let's see. I have, but I have some daggers.
All right. You have something you can use to like clip it or cut it if you need to. Just making sure that you would remember that Burley had mentioned something about this. You watch as Mr. Witch just shares a couple of words with Durla, mostly just thank you, Durla, for the evening. I think I can handle it from here. Everyone's out doing their thing. I have some accounting to handle. And he turns to step towards the wagon, and Durla turns and begins making her way across the open area between the wagons towards the exit.
I want to give her a wide berth.
All right. You do so. You slip around the sides of the wagons as she passes by. She settles herself down right at the hedge, though, at this thorny hedge. She doesn't actually leave. And a moment later, you see when you're kind of watching, Burley arrives basically from the same direction you came, stepping out of the big top through the dressing room. He kind of nods to Durla and kind of looks around. And he starts making his way over towards her.
Okay. I would like to go listen at Mr. Witch's trailer, cabin, wagon, caravan.
It'd be a wagon. Roll a perception check for me.
That will be a 17.
All right. You slip over to the wagon. You place your ear against like one of the windows that is closed on it. And you can hear from within a very low humming. Sounds like Mr. Witch is singing to himself. Not the words, but just sort of humming the melody to one of the songs that Palasha was singing earlier in the night. So you just hear like this deep sort of rumbling, like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Can I see in the window, or is it like shuttered?
You can't. The window's closed.
Okay. And the door is locked. Or
you don't know.
Shut.
You don't know if it's locked.
I'll take a peek.
The only way to really check would be to try to open it, I think. You didn't see him lock it.
But it is closed. Sorry, I meant closed.
It's closed.
Okay. What else is around here?
Other wagons.
This is the staff area. So
there you see some like stilts kind of leaning up against one wagon. You see probably some targets for like the knife thrower to practice on. A couple of barrels with water in them for the fire juggler to douse things. Just the sort of stuff you might expect in like a camp as well. There's probably some kitchen area set up with some food prep. couple of other casks of ale and wine. It's a working camp in here. It's just where most people sort of live for the next couple nights.
Huh. Okay. Well, I'm going to listen for a while.
How long is a while?
A minute or two.
Not like 10 minutes.
Not for a while, but
are we talking one cupcake? 2 cupcakes?
And I will just make a circle around the wagon to see if there's like maybe a window that's open on the other side that I didn't see, or some other egress.
Give me an investigation check for the wagon, and let's see what you get. Roll with advantage because you're taking a while to do this.
Okay, so that's going to be a 15 or a 17. Wow.
All right, so you slip around the wagon, kind of checking things, and you realize that the windows, although they are closed, they don't seem to be locked. And then they're the type of windows that sort of like come out at a side angle and prop up on like a stick, which means that you could probably open one and look in, assuming that Mr. Witch is not looking that direction. You can hear him inside, and you kind of hear him humming. You also heard that, he was talking about doing accounting.
All right. I would like to very gingerly try and lift one up. Just wherever it sounds like the window is the farthest away from him.
Okay. Roll a stealth check. Just straight up on this one because invisibly is not going to help if you open the wrong one.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Beautiful.
So, all right. So you think you open the one that's sort of the furthest away from him. You crack it open. You look in, and you see that he's sitting in such a way that his back is to you. It seems like he's further away because he's humming sort of towards the other direction of the wagon. He doesn't notice you open this thing, and you realize he's not that far away. With a bit of a stretch, you could probably reach him. You do.
Oh God, that's a lot of pressure. Can we go to somebody else for a sec?
Yeah, give me. Let's jump over to Burley for a moment as Burley's having a conversation with Durla.
Meanwhile,
so how was the night tonight? Any problems? Seems kind of cold out here. Haven't heard anybody or smelled anybody, have you? No, I haven't. Why? Burley, you're acting a little strange. It's like, oh no, nothing. Just I don't know, just a strange night, I think.
We owe Burley a beer later.
Let's jump out to Sulphira and Tana just for a moment, and let's give Sam a second to calm his nerves. He's going to run over to the ale kegs and just down a couple or something.
Or just...
Since it's been a while, think about anything else that you may have collected here at the carnival. It's possible that you may have other things that can help you. I'm not sure who has what or where they are.
For me, or for him?
For anybody at this point.
I have a seed. A seed that gives me a D8 ability check bonus. Who gave this to me?
This was collected at the beginning of the night when the treant walked by. He was throwing acorns, and those who grabbed them got little boons.
Yeah, I got a little boon. I haven't used it yet because nobody's in a sticky enough situation.
I've got that gold Feywild coin, but that just, I asked a witch hand, and it just seems to be currency for the Feywild, right?
You think so? You're not really sure what that
Worm
is.
can fly now.
This is true.
I think that's all it is. Let's jump to Sophia and Tana real quick. You're following along the behind sort of maybe this procession. Are you trying to make your way towards the front, or to keep an eye on Thorn, or are you doing anything else?
I'm just going to try to keep an eye on Thorn as much as possible. See if Mr. Light ever tries to talk to Thorn, so that I can maybe get a chance to talk to this man, since he has key information I need.
To be fair, Thorn is probably extremely easy to keep an eye on at the moment. In addition to
flying like at the head of this thing, and he's like
huge in the center of attention. Like, he's taking full advantage of those wings, like swooping up, swooping low over the crowd, waving to people. Yeah, he's big at the moment in more ways than one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sticking about 30 feet away from Tana, and I'm still keeping an eye on Thorn, but I also want to scan the crowd. Like, I want to keep my eye on the crowd for anything weird.
Roll a perception check for Saphira. And Tana, if you're trying to get close enough to Mr. Light to maybe sort of like ask some questions, give me a... how do you want to do it? How would you try to get close? Are you just sort of like push people out of the way and be like, hey, mister, I got some questions? Or are you going to be like, excuse me, pardon me? I don't want to assume that Tana's doing one thing or the other.
I'd probably take the gentle route in the beginning and just, if he tumbles, maybe I take a tumble or something like that and kind of try to show him off and then get him to try to talk to me.
All right, give me an acrobatics check just to see if you can't like slip through the crowd and maybe make a tiny like impression, make a gnomish impression upon this guy.
Oh, that's real bad. I was. Why am I rolling terribly this whole game?
Isn't this what you promised your TikTok followers beforehand, Callie? Come see me roll terribly.
I did.
Hey, well, if it's any consolation, if it's any consolation, I can join you. Because even after these things sit on my altar for a week, I just rolled a 1.
You blessed them for a week, and then your goddess was just like, sorry.
It's okay, guys. We're saving up the good luck for later when it matters.
Hopefully.
Later when it matters.
Sure. Actually, I'm sucking it all up right now. That's exactly
Hopefully. So, Sophia, you don't notice anything in the crowd, with the exception of Tana. Wow, you rolled a 4? With the exception of Tana, who comes kind of like rushing through the crowd, trying to like tumble forward and just slams right into the back of like some guy and just falls to the ground.
Yep, that's right. That tracks.
Mr. Light notices not at all. Just looks like you fell over.
Son of a gun.
All right.
It looks so easy.
He does. And he's just like meanwhile doing cartwheels and stuff. He goes like probably jumps right over you at one point. Just keeps moving. What about Sam? Have you thought about this?
Yeah, but I haven't come up with anything good.
Well,
do something terrible.
Okay, well, if it's time for something terrible, I'm your man.
Oh, no. Callie, stop predicting things.
I think you have inspiration, don't you, Sam?
I do have an inspiration. Point of order, the bag of pixie dust that I have, did I use that all up when I did my juggling floating routine?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah, it had 1 dose.
And I've got this dandelion head that I got from a red squirrel.
And you're wondering what that does, right?
I am.
Do you remember when you found it?
Yes. There was a procession with the treant walking through. That's where Tana got the seed and Sophia got the coin. And there were red squirrels running around handing these things out, and one came over and gave it to me.
Yes, the red squirrel gave it to you, but I think it had also said something when it did so. The squirrel had told you to make a wish when you had it, and I feel like maybe you did, but I can't remember if you had thought of making one and hadn't done it, or
Yeah, I don't have a note of that anywhere, so I'm going to assume that I hadn't.
Yeah, I can't remember for certain. But you're kind of looking through your stuff and you find this dandelion like in your bag. And you remember these things because you've seen them before. And you remember this squirrel saying, make a wish, as it handed it to you.
Okay. Right then. Okay, I'm going to go around to the front door of the cot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to open it as quietly as I can.
Hoping that he won't notice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, roll a stealth check.
18.
You creak the door open quietly. He has not noticed. He's still in there humming, working on his accounting.
All right. I'm going to pull out my dagger. Going to creep up on him to where I can see the pocket watch.
Mm-hmm. You see it. It's dangling from a pocket clipped to his waistcoat.
Okay. And I'm going to try and grab the chain, pull it taut, and slice it off of his waistcoat.
So you're not going to try to pick it. You're just going to try to just snatch and grab it.
You said it had to be cut off.
Yes, but this can be done with a very good sleight of hand.
Okay. Then yes,
the chain itself is not super super tough.
Okay,
it's not like like an iron chain holding this thing on.
I will just try and sleight of hand pick the watch off of him.
All right, I feel like maybe I should have made that more clear earlier.
That's a 16 plus 7. So 20.
You reach your hand in, you pull the watch out of his pocket, and with a flick of your knife, the chain comes free, and you have it. And he has not noticed.
Going to very carefully back out.
Roll one more stealth check.
One more stealth check. 12.
12.
You have advantage.
I do have advantage.
You do have advantage.
13.
Oh!
Everybody's covering their eyes here at this unfortunate roll. So you start creeping back towards the door. You step out onto the first step, and it creaks suddenly with an alarming sort of noise. And then you bump your butt like against the door, which sort of swings a little bit. You hear him stop humming suddenly, and he kind of sits up a little bit and starts to turn towards the door. Do you just freeze there? I'll give you 2 seconds to decide.
Yes. No, I'm going to jump to the side of the door so I'm not directly in his line of sight because the door is slightly ajar. And he's focused on the door, but he can't see me.
Are you going to stay inside or outside? You just leap outside?
If I can
You're halfway
get
in right now. Halfway in, halfway out.
Oh, then I'm definitely getting out.
All right. Okay, so you leap off to the side as he's turning around. You're still invisible. You don't think he saw you, but jumping off of the wagon definitely makes a bit of a noise, and like the thing kind of shakes a tiny bit as you make your escape. Where are you going to?
I am going to go over by the barrels of ale, or like if there's oil or anything that has any sort of odor.
Okay. There's the cooking area, which has all sorts of odors there. Okay. You slip away over to the little mess tent area where they've got pots and pans and some burners, like fires set up and little areas for cooking. You're hiding amongst that stuff, and you glance back at the wagon, and you see that Mr. Witch has appeared in the doorway, kind of his hand on the door, pressing it open, looking out into the dark, the dimly lit area of the staff area. He looks over towards Durla and Burley. And let me check something real quick. You glance over that direction too, and you see that Durla has her head turned in your direction, as if looking towards the kitchen area. Burley, meanwhile, is standing, with her. He notices Mr. Witch step out, and he's like, "Evening, everything all right?" And Mr. Witch kind of just says, "Were you just over at my wagon? Did you need something?" And Burley's like, "No, not me." "Why? You hear something?" He kind of reaches for like a cudgel at his side. And Mr. Witch kind of just looks around a little suspiciously. And then you see him sort of reach for his coat. This sort of like, this motion that you've seen and you remember like a million times. He's compulsive about reaching for his watch and checking for the time. And as he does, he doesn't find it. And he looks down and he sees the little chain dangling there, and no watch. And he says, Burley, someone's stolen from me." What does Sam do?
So is it a straight shot to the tent, or would I have to bypass some of them or any of them?
You wouldn't have to bypass them. It's you would kind of walk a little bit. You'd move a little bit past Durla and Burley, but they're off to the side, basically guarding the thorny hedge entrance, which is a separate entrance than the dressing room.
Okay, I want to start creeping around keeping as far away from everybody as possible towards the tent flap.
All right, roll a stealth check for me, and roll with advantage. Meanwhile, Burley says, "What do you mean stolen? You sure you just didn't drop it, sir?" And he starts moving towards Mr. Witch, and Mr. Witch is looking around like at the ground. He looks back inside the wagon, and he says, "I think someone was here. I heard something at the door. It was open. I didn't leave it open. Quick, gather some of the Witchlight hands. Search the area. Has anyone come and gone?" And Burley says, No, sir, no, none at all. And Durla kind of nods as well. What did you roll on your stealth check?
22.
2?
22. 22.
Oh, I'm like,
Don't do that. It's impossible for me to roll a 2. Okay, guys?
Apparently I thought it was not impossible to give Sophia a heart attack with a
the cleric's not there to help.
All right, so you're making your way where? Towards the dressing room?
Yes.
All right. You head towards the dressing room, and as you do, you make your, the flap is closed again, so like you'll have to kind of open it again to get out. Meanwhile, Burley is calling out for Witchlight hands. He steps towards the thorn wall, and as he does, he makes a gesture and it opens for him. And you see that there's now sort of 2 exits to go through. You could go back through the big top, you'd have to open the flap, or you could make a dash for the hedge. Give me an insight check.
Nat 20.
All right. So when you're looking over it, like you're kind of choosing your options, you look over and you see Burley is kind of looking around the area as he's calling for Witchlight hands. But he's hesitating in the opening. And you realize that he's possibly giving you a way to run out.
Then I'm just going to bolt for it.
All right. You do. You basically, since you're invisible, if you want, you can roll a stealth check. Just roll it straight. If you're running, you would need to move slower if you were.
No, I'm running, moving as fast as I can, but that's a 22.
All right.
This die loves this game.
It does. Apparently, all these terrible rolls have been adding up to giving Sam like the best opportunity here.
Yeah,
you run out of
buddy. Thanks for karmic balance.
Yes. You flee the staff area without being caught. At one point, like this wind passes by Durla, she kind of looks around and sniffs a little bit. And Burley probably like suspects that you've run out as well, just because he knew you were in here. But you find yourself back in the carnival now, still invisible, watch in hand. There's a bit of an alarm being raised back in the staff area, but you have made an escape.
Okay, and then I'm gonna run and find the biggest crowd I can and blend into it.
All right, biggest crowd you can find is the biggest crowd that is being led by Thorn and Mr. Light right now. You come running down, away from the big top, and you see this huge crowd coming towards you, and you see at the front of it Mr. Light spinning his vane and flying in circles sort of over it, the large figure of Thorn with his crown and wings.
Oh, is that me still?
That's you. You see, this is what you see. The only crowd left here is the one that's going to run around the parade.
Yeah, and so now I'm just looking for Sophia and Tana.
You find them eventually as you slip through the crowd. You're still invisible, though. Do you reveal yourself?
Is it something I can willfully turn off?
Do you have Arcana as a skill?
No.
You're not sure how to turn it off.
Okay. Well, then I'm just going to... I'm going to find like a quiet sort of out of the way spot that I can hide in until it wears off by itself. And then I'll... a bathroom. There's got to be a bathroom around here somewhere.
There's a few like sort of, set up porta potty type of areas. You head over there and hide out. Meanwhile, the procession continues to go along. Tana and Sylphira, both of you can get like another chance if you would. Well, let's get another perception check from both of you. And let's get one from Thorn, too. Let's get a perception check from Thorn.
All right.
I got an 18.
An 18? All right.
Mm-hmm.
7. What about Thorn?
I rolled well. I got a 17.
All right. You make your way as the procession is making its way around this thing. Like you march around for like about 10, 15 minutes or something like that before you start making your way back towards the big top. And as you're approaching it, you see that there's a little bit of commotion going on around the big top. A couple of Witchlight hands kind of running around the front, and they look a little out of sorts.
I will approach them, if possible, and say, "Is something wrong? Is someone hurt or in trouble?"
No problems. Just trying to clean up the end of the night. Everything's great. Nothing to see here. They go running off. Tana, give me. You've been also trying to make your way closer to Mr. Light. So,
yeah.
What tactic would you have been doing to get close to him at this point? Let's see if you are any closer.
Probably at this point, just pushing my way through.
Give me an athletics check.
All right.
I like pushing past
people's leg. And if you want to rage, you can roll it with advantage.
15.
I'm gonna rage walk there.
Rage on these children who are having a good time.
Get out of the way, kids. What'd you get?
15.
15 is good. You managed to basically sort of gently push your way through the crowds towards the front, and eventually you come to the head. And this is sort of like when this is happening. Like you're just behind Mr. Light as you look off and you see at the big top something happening. You know that Sam may have gotten himself into trouble. And you look over and you see that Mr. Light seems to have noticed this as well. He's still spinning his vane, but he's stopped sort of the tumbling crazy thing and is just sort of marching at the front. And you see he's got this still like this big smile on his face, but his eyes are sort of locked on the Witchlight hands running around the big top.
I want to gesture at Thorn to like fly down a little bit and like land next to me. And once Thorn lands, I say, Mr. Light, it's so nice to meet you in person. Just out of curiosity, what kind of powers does my friend have here? Could he ask something of you or the carnival?
He's spinning this vein. Meanwhile, Thorn, you've also noticed this with that perception check. You notice that there's some sort of commotion over at the big top, and that Mr. Light has noticed it. As you come down, he seems to be a little bit obsessed with looking that direction. Tana, you ask your questions, and he's just sort of spinning the vein still, and only sort of half answers you. He's like, it's these many little powers, those that enhance the personality, make you brighter to the audience. No one will soon forget our monarch, Lord Thorn. No, they won't. No, they won't. And he's, again, his eyes kind of head over towards the big top. And when you look over there, you see, having stepped out of the front of the big top, that older clown, Thaco, that you've encountered before. He's got a couple of witchlight hands with him. And as he steps out, he crosses his arms and is just staring at Mr. Light. And then sort of does this head nod, sort of we need you.
Before he heads away, I'm just going to Hail Mary this, and I'll be like, well, what if could you grant him a boon, perhaps the access password to the portal to Prismere?
He's just about to sort of kind of wave you off, of course, a boon. And as you say that, suddenly he turns and looks at you, and you see that you sort of caught him in something. And the smile for a second breaks. And is gone. And he says, sorry, what did you say? And he looks around at the crowd and says, meet me later. Meet us later over at the staff area. We'll speak. Yes, we will. And he looks again at you, and as he bows down low to Thorn, he looks kind of out of the corner of his eye at Tana, and he says, oh yes, we'll speak. Yes. Monarch, please take the helm as it would. Show these people a great end to a great night. And he bows again and sort of steps away and bows and steps away and bows. And then it's symbolic. He doesn't give you anything. And soon enough, he's making his way towards the tent, and a couple of witchlight hands have joined him along with that clown, Thaco, who starts whispering to him, with this stern face. Roll a performance check, and don't forget to add that +5. Ooh, nice. You're rolling in Sam level of rolls now, up in the 20s. You have everybody singing this song for the next 10 minutes.
Sorry, guys. Yes, you're right. I was muted. I'm not muted anymore.
Oh, you muted yourself in the wrong place. So Thorn is singing a local song, a song that the locals of Glen Hollow know, and has just rolled what was it, a 23, right?
23.
Leading them off, and has now become sort of the leader of this parade heading around the carnival. It's kind of starting to wrap up a little bit. You've made sort of this one turn, but with that roll, you keep them going for another, maybe another 10 minutes or so.
And try to bring it to a good stopping point, end near the exit of the carnival or something like that.
All right. Saphira.
I would like to keep my eyes on Thaco the Wacko. If he's following us, if he's wandering around, I would just want to I want to do security detail as we're walking down.
You're going to have to stay behind for that. The carnival's going to, the little parade procession is going to move on. Do you want to sort of stick behind?
Yeah. Can I caboose this caravan?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm just mixing metaphors. Can I? I'll hang out at the back.
All right.
That.
You put a tail on this train? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Yep.
Who knows? All right. So you kind of loiter a little bit behind as the parade moves on. What about Tana?
She saw how Thaco and everybody was looking around, and she's like, oh no. He's going to be desperately looking around for Sam. Just kind of like staying within eyesight of Thorn, but also just scanning the crowd, trying to look for Sam. If she doesn't see him very quickly, she will head to probably the staff area.
All right. So we'll say that Tana and Sophia are sort of kind of lagging behind a little bit as Thorn leads the group on. You watch and you can see that Thaco is sort of like leading like a very subtle action of Witchlight hands in sort of like spreading out through the carnival to subtly kind of look around. Like they head off and they're just kind of looking around as they go. And you can also tell that Mr. Light, once he reaches Thaco, is sort of talking him down a bit. Like he's making these motions like you need to calm down. And he sort of takes Thaco by the arm and leads him back into the big tub. Sort of like a one last wave to the crowd before he's gone. If you're going to want to try to listen in on them, you'll have to sneak up to the big top. If not, if you just want to sort of loiter in this area and see if Sam turns up, you can do that too.
I think I'll just loiter and wait.
What about Sophia?
As the carnival proceeds forward, do I look around? Do I see Tana?
Yeah. Tana ends up sort of hanging out near the back as well.
Okay. Tana, do you think I should retrace our steps in case Sam comes back?
I look over at Thorn and I look at you and I'm like, yeah, I'm not as graceful as I think I should be. So you should definitely go check some things out. And I think maybe you'll draw less attention.
Perhaps. I kind of sheepishly look down at my chainmail shirt.
I also part my shirt and show you my stale mail. And then also the mud on my knees for where I tried to tumble like a tumbler and did terribly.
The body armor does throw the weight off, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm really glad Thorn gave it to us because who knows what we were going to encounter here. But at the moment, it's not very useful.
Well, if anything happens in the next couple of moments, touch your shoulder. May Sir Luna help you. And take a guidance for the next minute, just in case anything happens.
Just in case.
And I'll begin doubling back.
All right. So the two of you are splitting up. Thorn's doing his thing. Sam, meanwhile, you've made your way over to the privies, and you're just like, become invisible, become visible, become visible. And like, it's just not working.
Real boy. I'm a real boy.
Another 5 minutes or so has passed. And let's take our 5-minute break right now as Sam is sort of stuck in his invisibility and everybody's looking for him.
Oh, no.
All right, everybody, we will be back in about 5 minutes. And maybe Thorn will figure it out by then. Sorry, maybe Sam may have figured it out.
All right.
And this episode has been brought to you by Deitypedia. At Deitypedia, we're here to help you solve all of your secular needs. Are you confused about the best god or goddess to follow based on your alignment? Are you looking for the most omnipotent being to sell your soul to? Going on a deep research dive into the realm of eldritch patrons and what their sacrifices are? Perhaps you're just a cleric or a paladin, and you want someone's righteous holy text to shove in people's faces while they innocently go about their day. Or maybe you're just metagaming, looking for those epic spells. Look, let's be real. And you want whomever or whatever god will grant them to you. Whatever your divine or dreadful needs may be, deity help can find you. Wow. Whatever your divine or dreadful needs may be, Deitypedia can help you find the best higher power for you. Deitypedia. Hard to say, easy to use. And that's genuinely the slug line, and I messed it up. Woo! Thank you, folks.
Bravo.
That's our sponsor there.
All right. We'll be back in a few. All right. Welcome back, everyone. We are back from the break. Thank you for sticking around. Before we jump back into it, I wanted to briefly mention if you missed last week, Tana and I did a behind the scenes episode. That's going to be coming up it's available online right now on Twitch if you missed it before. And it's going to be available on YouTube soon. We also, this weekend, have coming up on Saturday, a Blades in the Dark game, which I am going to be DMing. This is the first time any of us have played Blades in the Dark. I am super excited. We've described it a couple of times, but briefly, it's a very modern system. It's supposed to be very good at doing heists, and it has a very cool setting, this sort of like gothic Victorian punk, ghosts everywhere. Yeah, it's a very cool setting. Come back on Saturday to learn more. That's probably going to be about noon to 4 Pacific time on Saturday, something like that. Hope to see some of you there.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Blades in the Dark. Oof. It's going to be a big difference from this.
Yeah.
Go from dark and weird to just dark and dark.
And stabby.
And dark and stabby.
Dark and stabby. That's the worst kind of drink to order in a tavern. Kills you.
It's now an official drink in every tavern, in every game. I'm going to run from now on.
Oh my God.
Why is there a knife in my dark and stormy? That's a new one. You're fine.
That's going to be a dark and stabby.
Dark and stabby.
It's just, one of those cocktail swords for twizzling.
It's a little plastic sword. Here you go. Here's your little short, tiny sword. Okay, let's get back to this. Right before the break.
Yeah, we got to know if Sam's going to come back into visibility.
Yes. How is that going to happen? Sam is stuck in like the toilet trying to make himself visible again.
Be visible.
Be visible. Time is passing and it doesn't seem to be fading.
Oh boy.
As I retrace my steps, I would like to just be calling out, not like at the top of my lungs, but just like, Sam Arand, are you there?
Sam, let's get a perception check and see if Sam is there.
Sorry. My connection just went out. Perception check, you say?
Oh, yeah, it looked like you were frozen there for a second. Yeah.
Ooh. That will be a 10.
A 10. All right. So apparently you've chosen a place that's a little bit out of the way. So Fear is not having luck sort of tracking you down through voice signals. What about Tana? Is she just staying kind of monitoring the Witchlight hands to see if they capture him or something? Or
Yeah, mostly I'm just watching the Witchlight hands to see if their demeanor changes or if they like suddenly dart off in a certain direction.
All right. That doesn't seem to happen. They seem to have sort of like set out like to canvass the area very quietly, but you don't see anything. Although you do, when you wait there for a couple minutes, see, I think you're over near the staff area, right? You're kind of watching from near the big top. The thorn hedge for the staff area parts, and you see Burley there for a moment talking with Durla, and then Durla come out and start walking through the carnival. And Burley kind of looks around through the thorn hedge for a moment and then steps back, and it closes and seals him in.
I hail Durla. I say, hey, do you remember me?
Yes, I do, she says, as she kind of stops and turns her giant head in your direction.
Well, I'm just curious what all the hullabaloo is about.
She looks around and says, it seems as if someone has stolen from Mr. Witch.
Really?
Yes, and they seem to have gotten away with it. If a cat could smile, they're kind of always smiling, but it seems as if she's like actually smiling.
Well, that
What a poker face.
terrible.
Awful, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you alone? Where are your friends?
Well, one of them is now basically king of the carnival. And then Sam is elsewhere. And my friend Sulfura is also getting candy floss for Sam.
That tracks.
Durla kind of looks around a little bit to see if like your friends are nearby. She sees the parade kind of starting to wrap up near the entrance where Thorn is leading them. And she says, could have sworn that I just smelled Sam a short while ago.
Oh, well, he's got his dirty hands on everything. He's always touching stuff. You know how that goes. You've known him before he lost all his memories.
I did. Very tricky one he was. Learned all sorts of skills here at the carnival.
Oh, and he had skills before he went to the carnival. A little bit slippery little friend, isn't he?
Indeed he is. She kind of looks around and just says, do you know where he is now?
No, actually. I can tell you that for sure. I don't know where he is.
Seems like no one else does either.
He's got a particular set of talents. If he doesn't come back, though, I'm going to be pretty pissed.
We could go try to look for him together, if you wish.
Yeah, that sounds all right. Can I do an insight check on her?
Sure. Roll with disadvantage because it's a cat.
What even roll?
Never trust a cat.
Oh, my character sheet. Sorry. Thorn was taking a look at my character sheet. Hold on a second.
You're ogling her character sheet?
Any chance I get.
Look at the stats on that one, huh?
I'd take you for a tumble.
You're proficient.
What's your performance modifier?
Well, for the next few minutes, it'll be +5.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, even with disadvantage, that's a 15.
All right. You feel like you can trust her.
Okay.
You suspect that she's trying to help you, as if maybe she knows something. Like, putting two and two together, sounds as if Sam was successful at stealing what he was set out to steal. And she seems on your side in the deal. But she's curious as to why he's gone missing and why you don't know where he is.
Mm-hmm.
You begin making your way around the carnival. Sulfira, another couple of minutes pass as you are all sort of doing these things. Thorn, the parade is wrapping up near the entrance. This is also near the end of the carnival. So a lot of carnival goers, as like this parade winds down, begin making their way out, through the entrance. A lot of them, kind of basically struggling at the end of the night. After a whole night of merriment and probably fey wine and food and treats and things, they begin heading out and making their way back towards Glen Hollow, wherever they were camped. Sophia, you're still wandering around the tents, calling out for Sam?
Yeah.
Or are you going to change tactics?
I haven't noticed anything. I haven't heard anything. How far have I made it back down the way we were going?
You're at this point. You've passed the entrance to the staff area, and you're kind of over heading north towards Talasha's lake, the Mermaid Lake.
So you will notice one thing, though not necessarily something very helpful. As I sort of wrap up the parade, I don't know how long these wings are going to last, and I want to enjoy them while I've got them. I also, for the rest of the night, which is ending shortly, I still have the trait I am easily amused.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to enjoy the hell out of these wings. I'm going to go up when the parade is over, just fly up into the air and just soar, do a circuit around the entire carnival, like a full figure 8 around the whole thing. Just like Falcor style, like, woo! Just tearing around. And when people are like happy to see me, I'll swoop down low by them, maybe high five some people. Like,
Thorn is running the credits scene right now.
Yeah,
while the rest
exactly.
of you are trying to find Sam for episode 2.
So at some point, you'll see Thorn just come tearing by overhead. Hi, Sulfira!
Hi, Thorn. Bye, Thorn. Wow.
Sam, give me another perception check.
12.
12. You hear Thorn fly over at one point, screaming woohoo, and you thought you heard Sulfira calling back.
And I'm still invisible?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to peek out the door to this thing, see if there's anybody around.
There, you see a few carnival goers around. A couple of them have come to this area. In fact...
How close are we to the exit?
You're not close to the exit. You're kind of still over near the big top.
Okay.
But you're kind of near where Sulfira is. Like when you left, you went away from like the crowds to avoid them. So the only way to go would have been closer to like Palasha's lake. Roll a d6 for me real quick.
4.
4. All right. So you peek out of the privy that you like, the privy tent where you are, just as somebody is coming in to use it. Some big guy who's kind of drunk, like pushes the thing open and stumbles into the privy where you've been hiding.
Can I slide past him before the door closes?
Yeah. Okay. So you slip back outside, narrowly avoiding probably a gross moment, and you see Sulfira off in the road, not too far away, waving at Thorn as he's flying off over the carnival.
I'm going to pad over to Sulfira and just whisper, Sulfira, it's me. Don't jump. Don't look around.
Oh, I even heard you say don't jump.
Okay. I'm going to make my way towards the entrance.
Okay.
And so I'm getting out, so you guys know where I am. I'm going back home.
Okay. What happened?
I'll tell you when we get out of here. I'm going.
Okay. I'll tell the others. Sam, be safe.
It's me.
All right. Sam has delivered a message. Sulfira, you saw Tana off kind of near the big top before. Thorn is still flying around.
I'm going to wander. I think it's inconspicuous, but it probably looks a little conspicuous. Over to Tana. How do I put this? Our friend has chosen to go home, and perhaps we should meet them there. At some point.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
I look over at the Displacer Beast and I'm like, well, I think that answers our question.
Oh, hi, Durla.
Is Sam just leaving the carnival at this point, or is he still lurking about while Sulfira is gathering up Tana?
No, I'm making my way towards the exit. Trying to blend in with the crowd.
Well, you could totally blend in. You're invisible.
So there's a little problem with this, Sulfira. Well, actually, I guess he's just our backup plan. We might be able to talk to Mr. Light. He said to come by the staff area with Thorn later. I kind of let him know that we were looking for a way into Prismere, and that seemed to get his attention.
That's wonderful. Yes, I think our friend will be safe at home. once they make it there. And we should go talk to Mr. Light.
All right. And if he doesn't answer our questions, well, we've got our friend to help us.
Mm-hmm.
And he was successful. So I've heard.
Good to know. Good to know.
Well, Durla, I think I don't quite need your help, but if you want to come along, we're headed back to the staff area.
I think I'll stay here for now, unless you think that you need my help.
No, we're all right. And we're going to try to get you some answers, too.
The carnival does need to be buttoned up for the night, but I will be close by if you need assistance.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And she heads off towards Lost Property, where you see there's another Witchlight hand that has arrived there, and they begin to sort of kind of shutter things up. The carnival itself is starting to basically shut down for the evening, and you can see just the barest glimmer of dawn approaching. Thorn, people are beginning to stream out quicker and quicker. Does someone go and collect Thorn?
Well, as I start winding down, once I complete one more loop, I will, obviously the carnival's ending. I'll try to find my friends. Hopefully it's not too hard from the air.
It's not that hard. They're separated from everybody else. They're not even blended into the crowd right now. Plus, Tana was with Durla, who stands out very,
Got it.
starkly amongst the crowd.
Yeah, I'll swoop down and land next to them, just kind of still flushed with excitement, and be like, "Hi, wow,
Hi, Thorn.
what a day!
Congratulations." Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Whew.
So, you did a great job. You were a magnificent king. Absolutely. A few updates. And then I give him the spiel about Sam.
Oh. Well, why'd he do that? We already had what we were looking for.
Always good to have a plan B. We don't know if Mr. Light's actually going to answer your questions. He might just take an audience with you and be like, oh, la-di-da, and then not answer a single thing.
True.
Right. Like when you get to go backstage to your favorite bard's show and you don't actually get to do anything with them. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh. Has that happened to you, Sylphira?
Once when I was a kid. Yeah, they say don't meet your heroes. Anyway, beside the point, we shouldn't mention Sam at all, Thorn. I know it's not good to lie, but we just don't say anything.
Or if they ask
That's
where
okay,
Sam
right?
is, because they know Samarand, just be like, he's sleeping. He went home. Which is true.
Do you think they'll believe that?
Why would we lie?
Why would he go home?
Because it's 3 a.m.
When's that ever stopped Sam?
Not the point.
I don't know. He drank too much. Who knows? Lie. Oh, don't lie. Don't talk.
All right.
Except to ask the questions that you need to ask. Just don't mention Sam.
Well, I don't like lying. But for some reason, people do tend to believe me.
Yeah, well, you got one of those faces.
Don't we want Sam when we go try to talk to him?
Well, he seemed to want to go back.
We could wait till tomorrow night.
You don't know if you'll be crowned tomorrow.
I guess we better take advantage of it while we can.
Yeah, well, we're not going to go to Prismere without him. Don't worry.
We better not. Oh.
And I think before things get even more heated, and I look around at any of the chaotic Witchlight hands, I think we should talk to Mr. Light as soon as possible and get back to make sure our friend is safe.
Oh, I promised myself I wouldn't let him out of my sight. Oh, Sam.
Okay. I pat Thorn. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Thorn, he went invisible. That's not on you.
Okay. He better be at home.
No, I know. I know how you feel. Let's do this.
Okay.
And I start marching toward the thorn wall.
That's confusing.
That is confusing. The wall of thorns.
Yeah, I just imagine a bunch of them like planted in the ground. Like a palisade wall.
Well, especially since if Thorn does stand still, he's kind of like a wall himself.
Yeah.
All right, you head towards the thorn wall. When you arrive there, it opens, and Burley is standing on the other side. He says to Thorn, "Your Majesty."
Greetings.
Greetings.
Can I speak to the owners, please?
Yes, they are expecting you, although they are in a bit of a mood. Seems as if something happened in the carnival tonight, right at the end. Best be on your best behavior. But
always.
A deal is a deal. They must see you.
Oh, good.
As you step through the wall, you see that there's a bit of a flurry of activity back here. Some Witchlight hands kind of running around, gathering some things up. Some kind of just like monitoring the area. There's more activity than you've seen here, like all night. And there's sort of a sense of there's a tension in the air here. Sort of like a fire has been lit under all of them, and they're kind of running around, unable to put out this fire. Across the staff area at the dark wagon that belongs to Mr. Light, you see that clown Thacko sitting on the stairs. And as you approach with Burley, he's sitting there, and he's pulled out of, like, he's got this bag at his side. He's pulled out this balloon, and he's blown it up. And as he's blowing it up, you've never seen... you've seen like a couple of the clowns in the circus, like, blowing up these balloons and making little animals and stuff out of them for kids. But you've never seen somebody do it with such furious anger. Just like whips out this balloon. He's like, he's got like a porcupine, and he like puts on the ground. And
angry balloon animal noises.
Angry balloon animals, like, and you see like next to him, there's like a couple of others. There's like a little owl bear there, and like sort of like a little, tiny little minotaur. He's seems to be taking out his frustration in making angry balloon animals. Burley, as Burley approaches Thacko, says, "They ain't interested in seeing visitors," and Burley says, "They'll be interested in seeing these." And he just walks right past him and knocks on the door. And you can hear as you approach that there's some sort of hushed conversation happening from within. You can't quite make out the sound, but when Burley knocks, they cease. The doors open, and standing right there is Mr. Witch, very imposing in the doorway. Mr. Light's behind him, kind of crouched on sort of a chair. It's like the Witchlight vein kind of spinning in his hands. And although he's got that painted smile, it seems a little strained as they look out at your group. Mr. Witch looks down and says, yes, Your Highness. And he bows low to Thorn. Good show that you've put on tonight. And Mr. Light says, yes, good show. So glad you came. And he kind of glances down at Tana when he says that. Please, come in. All of you.
Sort of duck to fit inside and come on in.
All right. As you, all of you crowd into this wagon, Thorn is taking up a ton of space. Makes this feel very sort of claustrophobic in a way. But the interior is large enough for the two of them to be comfortable enough for the moment. The door is closed, and Mr. Witch, you see him kind of reach for his coat and kind of grab it for a moment, and his hand drops back down again. And he gives sort of like a bit of a a grunt, like a, You are missing a member of your troop.
If you're talking about Samarand, he went home.
Did he now?
It's been a long night.
Yes, it has.
But
how can we help you? And how might you help us?
Well, we think that we can do both. We've learned a lot about some things happening at this carnival. Things going missing, getting lost.
Being taken, not getting lost.
Right. Nothing is lost. Truly, here.
That's what some say. And then Mr. Light says, but what's lost is lost. What's done is done. And Mr. Witch kind of raises a hand to kind of calm him down a bit. And he says, things are not taken here. There is a price to come to the carnival. If you don't pay it, the price will be collected. And that is not upon us.
We were given bad tickets. We had things taken from us. We were just kids.
That was not our fault.
Where is my father? He came here 8 years ago, and I haven't seen him since.
And
I think that you know where they are. I think you know where the things are that you have lost.
And I think you know how to get there. And we would like the directions, please.
What about the thing that you can do for us? And his hand kind of itches towards his waistcoat again. You are not the only one that has lost something tonight. And I suspect that you know where something that has gone missing resides.
Have you spoken with Durla? She does manage the Lost and Found.
Don't be smart.
I'm not. Sorry. Out of character, I'm laughing.
Also, give yourself inspiration for that.
I've already got one. But thank you.
Then there's inspiration for that.
I'm sorry. I've been sitting on that for like 20 minutes.
Mr. Light, despite himself, kind of gives a giggle at your response, although Mr. Witch does not seem amused at all.
I'm sorry. I mean no offense, Mr. Witch. I wasn't trying to be funny.
The things that you ask for, the people you're looking for, they are beyond the mirrors. I think you already know this. And we know how to go there. But the trip is one way. And the thing that has gone missing for us, we need that. I need that.
Well, you tell us how do we get through the mirror, and maybe we can help you find that thing.
Makes sense. You help us find what we lost, and we help you find what you lost.
I don't like this maybe in your tone. You see, when we make a pact, we are bound by it. We agree to a thing, and we stick to it. You're from this world. Lies come easy. Pacts, oaths broken easy. There's no repercussions. There's no magic in this world that can force you to stay true to your word. We live in a different world than you. If we make a pact, we do our best to adhere to it. It's part of this that prevents us from saying things and revealing things about the world beyond the mirrors to folks such as you. It is not impossible to say these things, but there are consequences.
Just like there are consequences here if we don't fulfill our word. There's a thing that we have in this world called trust. And right now, you need to trust us as much as we're trusting you.
I will make this deal with you. Return what was taken, and we will show you the way. No tricks.
All right.
I have some questions. How do we get back?
You don't. It's a one-way trip.
But we can't.
There are ways in the world beyond, in the Feywild. They exist, but they are tricky to understand and sometimes tricky to use. You will have to make allies there. Convince those that reside in the Feywild and in Prismere to aid you. This is something we cannot do from here.
Gotta find another way out if we get through. We can do that.
Yes.
Right, Thorn? That we've been working for this. We can do it.
We should tell Morgana before we go.
Well, yeah. She's gonna hate it.
Not if we come back with Mom.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Mr. Witch, or Mr. Light, whichever one of you can answer this, I have a question. Why was the carnival late this time? It's caused our friend to be removed from the carnival.
It was because of your friend. And Mr. Light says, tricks and mistakes were made in the past. Your friend, he knew too much. He would have revealed these things to you. He would have broken his word. It was the only way that we could protect the carnival, protect ourselves.
So it was a choice to show up late so he would be removed.
Yes,
okay.
It is not a choice that we made lightly.
Okay.
All right.
Was that just to keep him from telling us the stuff we have found out anyway?
There is more. But it is not your story. It is not about you and about the things you've lost. It's about the things that we could lose if certain information gets out.
Thorn sort of straightens his spine and says, I'd like to know. We're getting involved in this. We deserve to know it all.
Recover what is mine, and I'll tell you, but you won't like the answer. And it may put you in danger.
We'll just have to be ready for it.
We know something's wrong here. We know you know something's wrong.
Most of the staff here does too.
If you pass beyond the mirrors, you'll learn why soon enough.
The more you tell us, the more maybe we can help you too.
We have already made promises and pacts of our own. There are some things we cannot say. What we can, we will.
Would those be the pacts with Sibylna or the Hourglass Coven?
And they get quiet. Mr. Light says, secrets and pacts. Cannot answer these questions. Nope, no more facts.
All right.
That was a clever rhyme.
It sounds like we got to go get Sam.
Okay. Be quick, please. The carnival cannot run with the thing that he has taken.
Mm.
Oh, how long are these going to last? I point to my wings.
About another 30 minutes.
Well, then I'll be right back. And I will fly out to go get Sam.
All right.
Whee! Like through the roof.
It just leaves like a big thorn-shaped hole in the roof of the wagon as he takes off.
That's not exactly what I meant, but okay.
Kool-Aid Man your way
Just
out of here.
Looney Tunes thorn shape.
All right, so Thorn, you leave the wagon, you fly up into the sky, heading back for Glen Hollow. Sam, you are still invisible, walking along the road towards home. You see the lights of the village closing in, and then it's been about maybe 15, 20 minutes or so, and you see up in the sky what looked like a shooting star at first, and then you realize is Thorn flying, following the land, following the river that heads through Glen Hollow. And of course, he doesn't see you because you're invisible.
Thorn!
What? I look around.
Come down here.
Visibly shocked. Sam?
Land, you big lummox.
Are you a ghost?
No, it's me, Sam.
I hear you. Sam,
Yeah.
what happened to your body? I land.
I will just go over to him and I will touch him. I'm like, I'm right here.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, what's going on?
Did you lose being seeable?
Yeah.
So worried.
Look, where are the others?
Well, they're in Mr. Witch and Mr. Light's wagon. They're waiting. We're waiting for you. He said if we give him the watch back, that they'll tell us everything that they can.
Oh. All right. Can you carry me?
Sure. I pop you up. Can I still fly carrying him?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because it's based on like whatever your carrying capacity is.
My carrying capacity is ridiculous.
You could probably carry everybody, like Andre the Giant and Princess Bride climbing up the cliffs. You fly back to the carnival with Sam in your hands, invisible, so you're like this, holding nothing. And you arrive back there. Do you just go right back to the staff area?
As we're flying, I'm just like, look at the sights, Sam. Isn't it great?
It is quite lovely from up here, yeah.
The lights of the carnival, and the dawn light coming in. Wow, I'm going to have to remember this.
Yeah, at this point, like the sun is almost up at the horizon.
Oh, better land before that cracks the sky. Go land back where we were in the staff area.
All right, you fly back into the staff area. The Mr. Witch and Mr. Light's wagon, and the two of them wait within. When Thorn returns, he's just like holding nothing, puts nothing down, and like
here you go.
Nearby, you see a couple of Witchlight hands kind of look at each other, and they're like, "We have a new mime in the carnival. What's going on here?"
I'm going to put my hand out towards whatever Thorn just put down. Do I touch a Sam?
Yes.
Wow, that cupcake. Jeez. What is
It's
it
good
been?
magic. I forgot how long these things lasted.
Was it like at least half an hour?
It's been like almost, like 35 minutes, 40 minutes almost.
All right. So did you guys make a deal?
Yeah, I guess it's back into the caravan.
The door is open, and you can see Mr. Witch standing there again. Mr. Light, kind of, in the back of the wagon, and standing at the front of the wagon is Burley on one side and Thacko on the other. And Thacko looks sort of like pissed, and he's trying to see, where Sam is. Can't see him. Realizes that there's like a bit of, that shenanigans have happened here. But doesn't.
I'll hold my hand out next to Sam.
I will place the watch in it.
I will calmly walk over to Mr. Witch, and I will hold up the watch chain to where the watch chain on his vest or coat is dangling, and I will cast Mending on it.
And fix the two back together. Reattach with a click.
Sorry about that, by the way. It was just nothing personal, really. It was just little leverage. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
Right. Borrow. Well, what's done is done. He takes the watch, looks at it, checks the time, and then slides it back into a pocket and kind of keeps his hand on it for the moment. He says, "Follow me." As he steps out of the wagon, it creaks under his heavy form as he walks through the staff area and out sort of a side way of going to the south in the direction of the Hall of Mirrors. A new section of the thorn wall opens at his gesture. Mr. Light is following along as well, kind of prancing along behind. And following Mr. Light is the clown Thaco. You make your way to, but just as you get to like the wall, the thorn wall, Mr. Light turns to Thaco and says, "I won't need you right now. No one's going to be attacking anyone. No one needs a beating. Although, you know what? Make one of those balloon things real quick. We could probably use one of those. Lighten the mood." And Thaco kind of stands there just glowering and then slowly like reaches into his bag and pulls out this balloon and just does the whole thing real quick. He's like, and you hear like this squeaking, and he turns to like, you can't see what he's doing. And then he pulls this thing back out and he hands it over to Mr. Light. And it appears to be sort of like a balloon version of the Witchlight Vein. And Mr. Light turns, kind of spins it in his hand, and he hands it over to Thorn.
Oh, thank you. I try to mimic the way he spins the vein and promptly drop it.
Yeah, it takes quite a bit of dexterity, especially with the balloon one. Although your fingers, you probably almost pop it in the
probably
with your big giant meaty blacksmith hands on this thing. And then the group of you are let out and kind of around the backside of the tents to the back entrance to the Hall of Illusions. As you step inside, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light are pretty quiet for this sort of trip. Although Mr. Light, anytime anybody else sees him except for your group, he's sort of like, skipping along, trying to play it up as if there's nothing wrong. When you step into the Hall of Illusions, they pass through pass by some of the mirrors, right at the end as they're making their way to this sort of side section, into that oval mirror that you identified earlier as sort of, the one that stands out. Obviously now the portal to the Feywild. You see the reflections of you and of them as looking very old and sort of wrinkled. The ones you see of Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, though, don't seem to be nearly as old as like the rest of you are in these reflections. Almost like almost like an eternal youth is stuck to them. Could be because they're elves or through some sort of other effect. I'm not sure. They come to a halt in front of this oval mirror, and Mr. Witch turns and he addresses your group. Everything you seek and more lies beyond this mirror. If you mean to step through and you have the courage, then stand in front of the glass and repeat this rhyme. Hither, thither, here and there. Wander yonder, show me where.
Okay. I'll step up to the mirror first.
Before you go, you had questions, and we are bound to answer what we can.
You told us you would tell us the rest. The part we won't like. Prismaria
is ruled by an archfey who couldn't be fickle. And should say that, I think you know this already, the carnival is bound to this fey, to this world, to Prismeer, this realm that you go to. We are bound by its rules and the pacts that were made long, long ago, before Mr. Witch and Mr. Light and myself, before we became the owners of this carnival. There is a history, a dark history here, that extends beyond Prismeer, beyond your world, to other places. There is a being that is always at odds with the carnival, always looking to turn it, to ruin it. This is the thing that I warn you of. It is a being that is unbound by the laws of Prismeer. It can do great harm. You should be very wary of it. I believe in your world it is called the collar.
Does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our mother's father, supposedly.
So what?
Yep.
What is it?
One really knows. Some say that it has its origins in the Shadowfell. Others say in the Feywild. And yet others claim that it came from some realm beyond, one of the hellish realms of the plains. But, like I said, no one knows for certain, and those that have sought it out have met grim ends.
How does the Hourglass Coven play into all of this and all three of those witches?
I cannot answer that question, though I can say that those you seek, parents, loved ones, believe they ran afoul of this being in some way.
Does the coven work for this being?
I cannot say.
You cannot say as in you do not know, or you physically cannot say?
We cannot say. And to tell you the truth, it's hard for one to even know. This creature, this being, it, like we said, it is not bound by the rules that you will find that exist in Prismeer.
Well, we need to have a talk with our mother, let her know what's happening, let her know what we've learned about the collar. And also our other friend, Kettlestein. I believe they're waiting on us.
It would be wise to leave her out of this.
So you're familiar?
Oh, yes. We know who your mother is.
Interesting.
Sam, you spoke of her often when you were here. We tried to dissuade you. We tried to warn you off. There's only so much that we could do. You would only bring her more pain by telling her what you're doing.
We can't
and if she came looking for you,
she'd be in danger.
She might run afoul of the dangers that you're walking into. And she, if what you claim is true about her, she may be in more danger than any one of you.
Ah. Well, maybe we leave her a letter.
We could arrange for that to be delivered.
Pretty much the same as telling her.
But she doesn't know how to get in. She couldn't follow us.
Point.
We just tell her not to.
I mean, don't you want to ask her some questions? If this caller is her dad.
Well, Kettlestein said that they weren't able to learn much about him at all. And when they started investigating him, things went weird.
Yeah, I think From what you guys have told me, she's suffered enough from now. Let's write her a letter.
I gotta say goodbye.
We'll be back soon.
What
We gotta
if we're
go.
not? I can't do that to her.
But what if she follows us and gets hurt?
What if we get hurt?
Ah, you're with me.
Well, Thorn, I've been training for this. Everything's been leading to this, to get our other mom back, to make make Morgana happy again.
It's just not right to leave without telling her.
Mr. Witch is right, though. We can't let her follow us.
No.
There is one person that you've mentioned who might be able to help you, and that's Kettlestein, who can't go with you. They're probably out sort of like amongst the crowd right now looking for you.
Perhaps they can send the message and stay with your mom while we are away.
Protect her.
Mm-hmm. Lauren, I know it's not good. I don't feel comfortable leaving without saying anything either, but
we can come back tomorrow. The carnival's here for 2 more days.
Even if we came back tomorrow, like, Mom would want to follow us.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we to say she can't? She's our mom.
But she shouldn't. It's far too dangerous for all of us to go, I feel like. And
I'd feel a little better if she was with us, to be honest. She's our mom. Shouldn't she be doing this?
Sophia starts tearing up.
Look, don't you think if she could, she would have by now?
Well, if she has a reason not to go, then she can stay.
Kettlestein did mention that she can't go.
It should be her
because Kettlestein and Morgana made the same deal.
Oh, if she can't go, then we should go tell her.
I just want to give her a hug before we go. What if we never make it back?
All right. We'll go see Mom. It turns out she can't follow us anyway. I tell that to Mr. Light and Mr. Witch.
The choice is yours.
Well,
you may find it harder to leave if you return to her now.
Can't just leave. She picked me up off the street. Same with Sam. Same with Thorn. Give us a home.
She gave me a home after my father disappeared.
Exactly.
Yeah, and what we're trying to do is restore the home, get our other mom back, deal with whatever hodgy-podgy weird Feywild they got themselves all wrapped in, come home, be heroes, save the day, tea and crumpets for everyone.
Thorn sort of sets his jaw and stubbornly says, I'm not leaving without giving her a hug.
Oh, good God. All right.
Mr. Witch, Mr. Light, can we enter this mirror at any time, or do we have to do it now?
You can return if you wish. I won't deny you a farewell.
He's already given us the poem, so yeah, we can say it whenever we like.
Well, they could also stop us from coming back in the carnival. It was worth asking. You did sort of borrow something, Sam.
Yeah, leverage.
Well, we don't have that tomorrow. So,
but we have what we need, and I have my ticket.
You won't
stop
us from trying to come back in tomorrow, will you?
Huh?
All right, one night then. Or day, really.
And then I can pack some things.
Tend to your affairs. Return tonight. We will be here.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Right. Let's go home.
And before you go, one other thing. the way through, tell it to no one else.
Okay.
You have my word.
All right. They step out and leave the Hall of Illusions. I'm assuming the rest of you kind of following. They return to the staff area as you make your way out of the carnival and back to Glen Hollow as the sun is rising over the village. And up on the hill, you see your home. This first rays of sunlight glinting off the roof. And I think this is a good spot, I think, to hold off for tonight. And we'll do fond farewells next week.
All right.
Also, pretty raise up to level 2.
Yay!
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Also, your friendly neighborhood cleric is very grateful for the long rest I'm about to get.
Yes. you all have earned a long rest.
Yeah.
And you're going to need it.
You guys, I was always torn between fighter and bard, and after that experience, I decided to go fighter, but after that experience being Witchlight Monarch, I'm thinking maybe multi-class into bard.
Do it.
Do it.
Oh, yeah. Good question. Am I still invisible?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Wispy. Yeah, that's a great question.
You are still invisible. Just as it's like the whole time you are invisible. Just as the sunlight hits you, as the dawn breaks, the invisibility wears off.
Oh,
Yeah, it lasted for a whole hour. And of course, you don't know the tricks to get rid of it. You just had to punch yourself or one of your friends. Just a little bit of violence would have solved that problem. Never would have thought you would have been trapped in an invisibility spell. But this adventure is like so passive and like so non-violent. There's no way to end it.
Also, Thorn, I loved it. Did you lose your ability to be visible? Yes. They stole away his corporeal form entirely.
I'm glad he's lost so many other things.
I know, right? Oh, man. Could you
when you ask, like, how do I stop this invisibility? I'm like, I'm not sure you know how.
Amazing.
And I couldn't think of a reasonable way to say you just end it. It's just you're running around stuck.
Oh, that's another great question. You could have stolen more. Oh, man.
That is true. You probably could have stolen more stuff.
I mean, I already have access to all the candy I want in this place. Like, there's what else am I going to steal? Like, nothing
That's a
good.
great question. Can we double back real quick, Rob? Before leaving the carnival, I want to use my last ticket punch, if possible, to get some candy.
By the time you guys leave the Hall of Illusions and the sun is rising, the candy floss stall is closed.
We'll have to come back tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Let's all walk into Prismere with candy floss in our hands.
And I'm
buying 2
tickets.
tickets.
Ticket for tomorrow too. I think.
Oh, I'm buying 2 tickets. One of them's going to be all candy floss. 8 candy flosses, please.
We're going to stop and get rations on the way, and you just have like this bag of candy floss.
So Fear's just going to be a sugar high the entire time we're in the Feywild.
Yeah.
That's it. Feywild rations. I'm just going to say that it's just hardened candy.
It's candy.
Oh,
it's candy.
One of my talents is canning, so it's just going to be like candy floss and pickled radishes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say candy floss.
Candy floss. No, it's just going to be like stuff from the garden and candy floss. Maybe some jerky.
I think you can actually buy like the candy stuff in like shoved into like a little can. I feel like I've seen it somewhere.
Oh yeah.
They just pack it down and like, here you go. It's not much different if one packs down. It's just thicker. Taste is going to be exactly the same.
Our wonderful moderator, Margaret O'Houlihan, has a good question for you, Sam. Why did you hang out in the porta potty while you were invisible instead of stealing more stuff?
I just answered that. Dude, I already have free reign to anything in here anyway. I can get all the candy and meat pies and custard what's-its I want. There's nothing worth stealing. But I've stolen more cupcakes. Next time. I think Sam already felt that he was pushing his luck. Like he just needed to get out of there.
That's fair. That's fair.
I feel like Chad didn't want to make any more rolls for the rest of the night.
I didn't want to make any more decisions.
Nervous enough.
He's like, I rolled about 15 like 10 times in a row.
I mean, the first hour was already all me anyway, so I was like, you guys go.
That was pretty amazing. I could see like you were so tense about just making this roll. I feel like I made it harder for you without saying, you could just roll a sleight of hand, right?
I was about to like cut and run. That was going to get really violent.
You're like, let's burn some bridges.
I didn't realize why you were agonizing so much about it until you said, let's slash this thing with a dagger. I'm like, oh, wait, that's what you thought you had to do?
And I had to cut it, so I was going to cut it.
Stab this guy in the back and steal his watch and make a run for it. Yeah, that's pretty hilarious.
Good times.
Good times.
All right.
Absolutely clutch thievery.
Yeah, clutch thievery.
That was,
all right. So next week we'll find out.
That was a great session. Yeah,
step through.
That was fantastic.
To Feywild. We'll see how long it takes you to say goodbye to Morgana, or if you can even bring yourselves to do it, and how she's going to react. What are you going to say? You're going to break your mother's heart.
I know.
This is the place where her wife vanished into 8 years ago. Her friend vanished into 8 years ago. This is the place that has kind of ruined her life multiple times. And now her children are going to run off into it as well.
And Sam just came back after 8 years of being gone. And then it's going to be like,
she doesn't even know Sam is back.
Sam yet. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe
look,
that's why Sam was like, let's just go.
The reality is we would have broken her heart either way. The only problem with this approach is we need to look her in the face as we do it.
How dare you, Thorn? You're trying to work our way around that.
Damn you. Damn you with the feels.
Making me feel things.
Can't you just let me live in my own cowardice?
Oh, we should mention Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yeah. And also, again, thank you, Margaret O'Houlihan, for being our moderator. Yay. Much appreciated.
Yes, definitely. And come back on Saturday for Blades in the Dark.
Oh, yeah, Blades in the Dark.
Please do tell your friends,
Always.
and subscribe.
Yeah.
Right.
Hit that like.
What time are we doing Blades in the Dark? Same time? We doing the sort of the same schedule?
Does 12 to 4 work for you guys?
Yeah. We want to do it in the afternoon. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think so. I'll have to double check, but I think so.
Well, let me know and we'll post it on the website.
Yeah, we'll post it on the website for those of you watching, and you'll also get notified here on Twitch.
Yeah, and that's Pacific time, 12
Pacific.
Basically noon Pacific time to 4.
Yeah.
And if you're friends with us on any social media, we'll post it there as well.
You should be able to see it there.
All right.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Good night.